It's Father's Day. You know what that means. Time to throw my dad under the bus. We're talking about his weird quirks. Enough chit-chat, let's get into it. I already talked about dad having weird catchphrases. So if you want to know what I'm talking about, watch my last Father's Day video. I guess I'll start with one of his interests, which is sports. Mostly baseball and football. When the sports ball starts, he has to stop what he's doing and watch it. And he will not listen to you because he can only focus on one thing. He'll sometimes yell stuff like, "Come on! Going to the one, stone forklift certified!" Or, "Woo! Did you see that? Mike Wazowski got into a 2-1 over the vast majority of Los Angeles." Another thing that dad enjoys is hunting. I don't understand it because I've tried it at least twice when I was young. And all you do is sit in the woods and wait for a buck to show up. And it's boring and cold. Plus I like watching deer do deer things, not killing them and putting their heads on the wall. He also doesn't wear ear protection, which is probably why he has a hard time hearing. I remember Dad used to tell me when I was little, if I wanted him to do something, I had to say, "Please, my pretty daddy." I remember asking Dad if he can jump on the trampoline with us, and my dad said no, and I responded, "Please, my pretty daddy." And that actually persuaded him. I guess he thought it was too cute to say no. Another thing interesting about Dad is his brain works in very interesting ways. I've talked about that Dad sometimes has a hard time with words and mostly goes, that thing over, Listening is not his strong suit. He would literally be like, "Hey, there's a dent in the wall." And we talk about that for a few minutes. And time goes by, and then Dad goes, "Hey, look, there's a dent in the wall." And he would literally be in the same room as us. He also has what most men have, which is, "I can't find the thing that's directly in front of me" syndrome. And I don't know why he does this, but he will sometimes ask you a question, and he goes out to the door. "Hey, do you know where the broom is?" "Yeah, it's slam." Now, he only does this when he's about to head out the door, but it's still a weird thing he does. Dad is also not very expressive, so you have no idea what he's feeling. Unless he finds something funny, watches something sad, or you wake him up when he's sleeping. I remember when my brother told me this story, that him and Dad were working on a little bridge that goes across this little creek in our yard. An annoying thing happened, and Dad says with a neutral face, "Okay, I'm mad." Another thing I like to discuss is his interest in entertainment. His number one genre for movies and TV shows is action. Like, he loves action movies. He's also a big fan of country music and does enjoy animation. He loves Zootopia and the How to Train Your Dragon movies. At one point, he listened to Zootopia while driving. He has seen it so many times that he can just visualize it while listening. He also has rewatched White Colors several times, which is funny because he doesn't understand why we go to Disney World or watch this community theater production of Wizard of Oz that comes out every year, when he rewatches shows like that all the time. I also caught him watching Vampire Diaries. Yeah. Another funny thing he does is when he talks about something and someone asks, "What?" he'll always say the last thing and not the whole sentence. "So Brandon went to Walmart today." "What? Went to Walmart today?" "Who?" "Brandon." "Why did you start with that?" The last thing I would say about Dad is that he is a hard-working man. He does most of the yard work, fixes cars, works on electric stuff, and works all night at the hospital. He's also very good at having conversations about, like, deep thoughts and philosophical things. When I would talk about deep thoughts about people to Mom, she does not like it because it's too much for her brain. This person is really rude and I don't like it, but I wonder why he is the way he is. I don't know, why are you asking me these questions? But when I talk about stuff like that to Dad, he either listens or adds something to the conversation. Hearing that my mom didn't have a great father growing up makes me extremely thankful that my dad is way better than him. If it wasn't for Dad, I wouldn't have been born, since he was the one who suggested that him and Mom would have kids. Also, my mom would have not been married since he was the only one she loved, since every other man she knew sucked, or at least wasn't husband material for her. That's the end of this video. Love you, Dad. Happy Father's Day.